on that. Okay. That one was all me. This one will be some of me and then some slides. So, all right, so next up, switching gears. With the new year here, obviously there's going to be a lot more talk in the next day or two or three about New Year's resolutions. Are New Year's resolutions worth putting in place? That's the topic. That's the next subject that I'm going to talk about. Well, I'm not a big fan of resolutions because they rarely stick. Some reports indicate less than 25% are still engaged in a New Year's resolution after the first 30 days, and only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolution. Honestly, that's data I'm quoting from a couple of sources, but I don't even know if 8% is going to be right. It might be, but I don't even know. That might be a little high, but maybe it's spot on. Let's just take it for what it is, for what they say it is, and let's say it's 8%. It's not a real high success rate there. So while I'm not a big fan of resolutions, I am a big fan of goals, and I'm very much okay with going with the flow and using the end of year and beginning of the next as a marker. Okay, end of year, beginning of the next can be a marker for an ending and a beginning, right? And we can use that to reflect, to be grateful, to think about what we want for the coming year, to have a somewhat of a feeling of fresh or a fresh start, right? And I get that, December 31st and January 1st, there's really no difference in the days. We all get that intellectually, but I'm okay with us all kind of coming into it and going, there's a bit of a fresh start, okay? And we can reflect, we can be grateful. We can be grateful for what we already have. We can think about what we want as we go into this new year, and we can set a goal or two, okay? Not big on resolutions, but we can set a goal or two. So as I reflect on the past year, as for me, it's easiest and most natural to split time kind of sort of between coulda, woulda, shoulda, and gratitude. And then also maybe three things. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, gratitude, and then also where to from here. Kind of three legs there for me. What I find I most have to do is forgive myself for my fall downs, let it go sooner rather than later. I need to be self-compassionate. I need to fail forward, recover quickly, Dr. F it, right? And focus on who and all that I am appreciative for. So there are many ways, if we are going to buy into not so much resolutions, but instead let's move more toward goals, do a little reflection, go ahead and be a little bit more hopeful perhaps on this fresh start, this marker of an end and a beginning with January 1st. Keep in mind that as we're going towards these goals, there are many ways to skin the goals cat. Some will set 1 to 2 big goals. Others will set 10 small goals. Others will set 1 to 2 small goals. Who's most successful? It depends. So remember my mantra of PWE squared, pursue the worthy endeavor, persist without exception. A key word in that mantra is worthy. We must always remember that energy is a limited resource, and only a few endeavors are truly worthy of our precious time and energy without exception. So regardless of whether you set 1 to 2 or 10 goals, I do believe it's worth our time to set the ones we really feel are worthy of the limited energy we have, to get clarity and to focus on what we want rather than what we don't want. So if resolutions are not so good and goals are better, what kind of goals am I talking about? I think they should be smart, both outcome and performance based, and they should be backed by a killer why. Let me explain. We need a worthy outcome goal to shoot for, one worthy of our limited time and energy, and it's limited no matter what we think. If you'll indulge me, I'd like to share with you a goal I set at the end of 2020, the start of 2021. Now that 2021 is almost over, I can share with you kind of all the ins and outs of it. Obviously, my intent here is to help you set your own SMART goals with a killer why rather than resolutions, okay? So for the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I chose an outcome goal of reading at least 6 books in 2021. There have been years I've read 12 or more books, but my actual book reading at the end of 2020 had fallen off. I wasn't pleased with myself over it. It was just maybe a pattern I'd gotten into, whatever the case may be. a cycle, but I'd kind of gotten out of reading actual books. I read things all the time, but I wasn't reading and completing books. And I wanted to read at least 6 books in 2021. There's so much that I just want to keep learning about. I wish, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, I wish I could hold a book up to my head and download it into my head. There's so much that I want to learn. And I almost exclusively read nonfiction because I just want to keep learning and learning and learning about any aspect that relates to fitness, mental health, emotional health, nutrition, exercise, whatever the case may be. But anyway, anybody else felt like that? Anybody else felt like you just wish you could hold a book up to your head and just download it because there's just so much you want to learn, so much you'd like to know? Anyway, so if I had an outcome goal of reading, and that's what it is, an outcome goal of reading at least 6 books in 2021, I next needed to break the outcome goal down into smaller performance-based goals directly within my control. Okay, so I've got the outcome goal. Now I need to break the outcome goal down into smaller performance-based goals directly within my control. So check this out. I thought, okay, I need to make this as easy to accomplish as possible. I want to read 6 books in a year. I need to make it as easy as possible to accomplish. Well, James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says we need 4 things to help turn behaviors into habits. 1, make it obvious. 2, make it attractive. 3, make it easy. And 4, make it satisfying. I'm going to be honest. I hadn't really thought of his 4 rules when I came up with my plan, but I knew I needed to at least make it easy. Okay, that did come into my head. And I'd read his book before, and I reread it in 2021, but it wasn't top of mind. So maybe it was somewhere in the back of my mind, in the subconscious, but I knew that I wanted to at least make it as easy as I could. All right? So, on a first things first, I decided to use my phone. Look at that. Woohoo. I decided to use my phone to read. So with the Kindle app on the phone, if you own a phone, a smartphone, or an iPad, or some kind of tablet, then you have a Kindle. You say, well, I don't have a Kindle. Yes, you do, because they make a Kindle app for any of the smart devices we have. So I have the Kindle app on my phone. I have it on my iPad. And with the Kindle app, you can set your font size, which is awesome. The phone provides its own backlight, and I don't need an external light source, and I do bring my phone into the bedroom each night. All of these factors helped to make the actual process of reading pretty easy, right? So where am I going to read? I'm going to do it on my phone. It's already backlit. I've got a Kindle app. It's always with me. I don't have to, I forgot the book in the other room. Nope, I've got it. It's on my phone. It's with me. It's backlit. Font size is squared away. I bring my phone in the bedroom anyway. Okay, trying to make it as easy as I can. Next, I decided I'd just read before going to sleep. I hadn't been. So I thought, I'm just going to read before going to sleep. I had found in the past that when I read, it does make me a little bit tired depending on how long I read. And also, there are no other distractions going on. There's no other external sources of distraction, whether it be a TV, whether it be just anything at all. There's no other external distractions going on. I can focus on what I'm doing. So there's some benefits there. So next, all right, I'm going to do it on my phone. I decided on reading 20 minutes a night on weekdays, so 5 days a week. Before I came up with the 20-minute goal, I thought I'd use a tracking tool. As a matter of fact, when I first went into this, I was like, all right, we can do the Kindle, I'm using the phone, got an app, going to be good to go. I hadn't looked at all the bells and whistles that a Kindle app might have, but I just knew the Kindle app for sure had to have an easy tool to help its readers to set and fulfill reading goals, track those reading goals. Hell, I bet they even give badges and awards, and I bet you can climb ladders and reach, certain status, and, I mean, just all private, or whatever. I bet they've got all this stuff built into the Kindle app. Nope, they didn't. Not that I found. I looked and looked and looked. I looked offline. I looked at my computer. I looked on the app. I looked on Google. I searched and searched and searched for within the Kindle app this thing that might help me stick to the 20-minute goal I had, and maybe even reward me for it, but at least track it, okay? Now, before someone out there tries to correct me and say Kindle does have a way to track, yeah, I get it. They kind of have a way to track, but it's not easy. I'm going to say it sucks, okay? It is not user-friendly at all. And it's not anything like you might envision in your head if you were thinking along the same lines I was. It's clunky. There's no attaboy for sticking to any kind of a schedule. Still kind of blows my mind. It really does. I mean, Kindle is Amazon, and Amazon would love for you to buy more Kindle books, right? But they have no really good way to track, measure, and reward for reading X amount over Y period of time. All right, enough of that. So, since I couldn't get any attaboys or even good ways to track from Kindle, I looked to my process of making a deal with the universe that I've taught in previous lessons. When you make a deal with the universe, you are looking for some action within your control that seems so reasonable that you feel you have at least a 95% chance of success for doing it. As I've said in previous lessons, if it was a deal with the universe for exercise, you might make one where you commit to putting your workout clothes on. That's it, nothing more. You don't even have to work out, but you make a deal with the universe that X number of days a week or at this time of day or whatever it is, you're going to put your workout clothes on. Or you might make a deal where you will add one bite of a vegetable with whatever breakfast you cook. One bite. And if you do that, if you've honored the deal you made with the universe, then the universe has to be happy with what you gave it. That's the deal. You don't owe it anymore. When you make a deal with the universe has to be happy with what you gave it. You don't owe it anymore. This is the idea here behind this is if you do it, feel good about it, no guilt. Okay? The universe is happy about it. Well, my deal was reading 20 minutes while in bed at night on the weekdays. That felt 95% doable to me. So, the universal deal is made. Now, how am I going to track the 20 minutes? Well, since Kindle isn't going to help me, I started out by setting a timer on my phone, but that was not good. Let me show you. So I would set a timer on my phone for 20 minutes, and this would, so I'm reading the book, got my phone, I'm reading the book, and 20 minutes in, this would happen. So I'd be engrossed in my reading, and that alarm would go off, and it startled the crap out of me. My heart about beat out of my chest. Not good when it's now time, you're supposed to be going to sleep, all right? So, but then I remembered, it took me probably a few days of startled and going, man, then I tried to turn the volume down, and then I tried a number of things on that. And then I remembered that if I set an appointment on my iPhone calendar, I'd get a visual but silent reminder that it was time for the appointment. So let's say I crawled into bed at 9:45 p.m. What I did was I set a done reading appointment for 10:05 p.m., 20 minutes later. So whenever I crawled in bed, all I had to do was look and say, boom, set it for 20 minutes ahead. I have a done reading appointment for 10:05 p.m. When 10:05 p.m. came, even with my Kindle app open, I'd get a top of screen notification of the 10:05 p.m. done reading appointment, and that has worked well for me. No noise, no startling. It lets me know when I had done 20 minutes. And honestly, it actually kind of acted as a little bit of a prize for me. It was like, oh, okay, I did it. And also remember, it was a deal with the universe, so I needed to be 95% confident that I would do it anyway. And I really felt that 20 minutes was not going to be too hard for me. And I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be something that I would do. And I would be like, look, you got 20 minutes. Come on now, David. You can do this for 20 minutes. And it's not like I don't like reading anyway. I just wanted it to be so easy and so doable that I wouldn't feel like it was overwhelming. I wouldn't get discouraged or dread it. Like, oh, okay, I've set a goal. I'm going to read 90 minutes a day. Hey, great. If you do it, wonderful, awesome. But if I would have set that goal, it wouldn't have worked out so well. I would have had some days where I would have done it, others I wouldn't have, and I would have been more harsh on me for not achieving that number. So 20 minutes it was. All right. So a Churchill quote I love goes, however beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the results. Basically, it's saying that we should move beyond yapping about strategies and at least once in a while ask, so how's that working for you? So how did this all work out for me? 2021 is almost complete. Well, I'm happy to report that for 2021, I read 16 books. One book, It's on here somewhere, right? Isn't it? Yeah, it's on there. Third from the right on the bottom row. One book, Processed Food Addiction, a textbook, had me feeling like after 20 minutes of reading that the progress indicator on the Kindle app was saying that I was going backwards, not forward. That was a long book. I swear I'd start some nights at 48% completed. If you use the Kindle app, it at least does tell you that. You look at the bottom of the page and it'll tell you you're 48% complete, or you're on this page of, you're on page 175 of 400 or whatever. But I a lot of times look at the percentages. And I'd start some night and at 48% complete, and when I finished 20 minutes, I swear, and this isn't true, but this is how it felt, that Kindle told me I was only 46% complete. Like I had gone backwards 2%. It just seemed to take so long. But it was such a good book, and as a textbook, it's not light reading at all, but there's so many highlights in that book, I can't even begin to count them. So it took me about 2 months to finish that book, and I wasn't sure at times if I would finish it. But what I found for the other books mostly was reading 20 minutes a night, about 5 days a week, would allow me to finish a book in about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? Some books might have been 10 days, others might have been just a little over 3 weeks, but somewhere in that 2 to 3 week range is kind of how it worked out when I read 20 minutes a night, 5 nights a week. All right, so I had success. Great. So there are 6 things in summary I want to share with you that I hope you can transfer into a goal for yourself in 2022. Number 1, skip the resolutions and instead opt for a goal or 2. Make it a worthy goal. Remember that energy is a limited resource. So PWE squared this thing. Pursue the worthy endeavor, and if it's not a worthy endeavor, reconsider it. See if you can think of something that is a worthy endeavor, that is going to be worth your time and energy. Okay? And if you do find that thing that is a worthy endeavor, then persist without exception. Number 2, goals should be 10% outcome, 90% smart P. Smart P's, smart performance. Okay? My outcome goal was to read 6 books, at least 6 books in 2021. So by starting with the outcome goal, I had a global picture, and if you do, you'll have a global picture if you start with the outcome goal of what you ultimately want to achieve. But then put the other 90% of your thinking into smart P goals. That is performance-based, things within your control goals that are specific, measurable, action-based, realistic, and time-sensitive. That's the smart part. Make them performance-based, 90%, 10% outcome, 90% performance. Number 3, make it as easy as possible to succeed. I made it easy. I made it as easy as I could to do the reading by A, using my phone, which I bring into the bedroom and which is backlit, and B, setting the font size in the Kindle app bigger so I could easily read it. I didn't want to have to drag my iPad into the bedroom or accidentally forget it. It might be too easy to forget. So a performance goal, one of them was making it as easy as possible, and using the phone, setting the font with all the backlit and all those features helped me do that. Number 4, establish how you'll track progress. I thought it'd be easy with the Kindle app to track my new reading goal. I mean, like I said, I still am flabbergasted that they don't have something really cool and slick built into the app, but they don't. So I had to come up with a new tracking performance goal. And that's when I decided on 20 minutes a night on the weekdays. Okay, 20 minutes a night on the weekdays. My point here is, as a German war strategist is quoted, no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy. My plan to use Kindle to track my progress failed instantly, and I had to come up with an alternative way to track my daily progress. And even my first timer plan failed. And I'm going to use my timer. I'll set it for 20 minutes and it'll alarm me. Holy crap. Scared the crap out of me, startled me, had my heart racing. So I had to switch to, what I switched to was setting a done reading appointment on my calendar. Okay, so I had to switch. So I had my plan, but I immediately had to revise my plan. And that's very normal and natural and something we need to be ready for, something we need to anticipate. Having a plan is what we want to do, no doubt about it. But we need to be ready to adjust the plan, adapt the plan when on first contact with the enemy, okay? So, because that's the way it goes. Number 5, make a deal with the universe. When I set the performance goal to read 20 minutes on the weekdays, I had essentially made a deal with the universe that I've discussed with you tonight and in previous lessons. The best deals are the ones that you do feel 95% confident, 95% or more confident that you will do. Nothing oppressive or overwhelming, not a crazy stretch goal. Now, did I read every single weekday in 2021? No. But out of 52 weeks, I probably read every weekday 48 or 49 of the 52 weeks. And when I didn't read all 5 weekdays of the week, I probably read 4 weekdays of the week. Now, sometimes I'd read longer than 20 minutes, but the deal with the universe was read at least 20 minutes. And again, if we make that deal with the universe agrees to be happy if you meet the minimum you've agreed to. You are not obligated to do any more. If you do, fine. If you don't, everybody's happy. And number 6, know why it's worth your time and energy. My why for wanting to read more and get the 6 books in 2021 was really twofold. Number 1, the more I know, I'm just wired this way. The more I know, the more I want to know. And then the more I also realize how little I know. So how can I know more? Well, reading is one great way to achieve this. And number 2, when I wasn't reading books, sometimes for months at a time, not proud to say, I felt like I wasn't honoring my best self with integrity. I do strongly believe school is never out for the professional and that we should always be learning and growing. I didn't feel good about my behavior when I wasn't including reading into my personal growth. And I was always reading, so it wasn't like I wasn't reading something, but when I wasn't reading a book, when I wasn't consuming the book and trying to gain the knowledge from it and really trying to take it from start to finish, when I wasn't doing that, I didn't feel that I was consistent with my values and best self. So you really need to ask yourself, what do you really get for doing the work necessary to achieve whatever goal you set? It's really, really critical, okay? All right. Resolutions rarely stick, but I'd bet on the person who sets smart outcome goals and performance-based goals backed by a killer why. So for 2022, my goal is to continue the 3-month string that I've had of stretching 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Never in my life have I stuck with a stretching program until now. Should have done it years ago. I know it's one of those things. I know. You should. It's one of those I should. And you know it. I can't even give you a valid reason why I wouldn't have, other than I just didn't take the time. Jerry Seinfeld supposedly told the story of how he would write jokes every single day. And when he would write, he wrote every single day, he would put an X on the calendar. After a long string of days, marking each day on the calendar with an X, he realized he didn't want to break the chain of marked days. I actually have that feeling on my new stretching string. I do, and it's a cool thing, and I want to break it. I want to keep it. So focusing on what I want to keep that string going the best I can. It may not be perfect, but I'm striving for exceptional. So how about you? What goal might be truly worthy of your limited time and energy? How might you break it down into performance goals? Okay, what are the performance goals, things that you have direct control over, and things that you can maybe make a deal with the universe to accomplish? Nothing too overwhelming, something kind of small. Remember, if you do it, the universe is happy about it, and it, in some kind of micro progression, does progress you toward the realization of the larger outcome goal. And then last but not least, make sure you know why the goal is worth pursuing. Okay? All right. Changing gears. Before I wrap things up tonight, I do want to let you know